You're listening to Real Talk with Waz. I'm very excited to have you. Enjoy this episode. Jake Burhans.
Cool.
Welcome on to Real Talk. It's cool to have you. For those of you that don't know, Jake, he is a very successful young 26-year-old entrepreneur. He's the founder of a high caliber acquisitions company. He's a friend within my sphere that I truly admire. His mindset, work ethic, and character are far above others of our age. And I'm glad to have you on. So welcome.
Appreciate
on.
it, man. Yeah, the character and the work ethic and the mindset and all those things, I hold those with greater appreciation than any of the titles or accolades or anything like that. I think definitely connecting with yourself and other people like that is what I enjoy the most, though.
Yeah.
Just talking about the mindset and helping other people get past the mindset things. Because being successful or whatever you call successful in business is really not complicated. Anyone can do it if they have the right.
It's a good point. If you have the right skills and I guess mindset too, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that no one can take from you is mindset.
Yeah.
You know,
it is an interesting thing. Like as you progress over the years and you build these skills and you build up your repertoire, no matter what happens financially or with the business or this or that, those experiences and lessons and trials and tribulations and character, all that has been built for you can never be taken. Which is a pretty comforting feeling, you know, like you'll always have that no matter what.
But dude, I got to ask you, like, as a 26-year-old, like I thought you were older when I first met you too, because like you were just so with it. And like a lot of the people that I was around at the time, at least when I met you, like they didn't have like this drive or like this mindset thing. And you're reading these books and, you know, doing these big picture things at such a young age. When you were younger, like, did you have that around you as a kid? Like, were your parents very entrepreneurial? How was it growing up, you know?
I wish. No, I think it's good. I'm the only one in my family that's business.
Okay.
Everyone in my family that's not true, actually. My mom's father, my grandfather is into business. But everyone else in my family does like behavioral, like they help special needs. They do all this great work for the community.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like the only one in business.
That's where you get the mindset from.
Yeah, the mindset. But
because those type of people, they require a different level of mindset to push through and do those kind of jobs.
Yeah, those jobs are tough.
Yeah,
a lot of love for those people. And dealing with that whole demographic, it's a huge thing. But in terms of drive, I mean, hockey consumed my life when I was younger. From when I was 4 years old when I started playing hockey till I was like 20. You know, my whole thing was to go to the NHL, play D1, do all these things. That consumed me 24/7. So I did have the same level of commitment and focus on all those things then. And that's kind of translated over to entrepreneurship. But to be honest, I think a lot of the drive for entrepreneurship at first came from almost needing to, and not to get deep right off the bat here, but to validate myself through the accomplishments or the titles of being an entrepreneur, being a successful entrepreneur, making a certain amount of money or getting to a certain level in business. You know, I needed that to almost feel validated or kind of worthy. But what I've come to realize over time is that it's not really about any of that. It's really about like who I am. Like, am I helping people, right? Am I putting people in a better position within the business? It's about our employees, our company, developing them. And being a genuinely good person trying to provide value. And the universe pays you back. It'll come back around to you. But that's more my focus now. And I still enjoy all the work. I love business. I love the game of business. I love learning. I'm a voracious learner, so I love to read a tremendous amount and podcasts and all these things. But I've really changed my mindset to be more playing the infinite game, as Simon Sinek would say, playing the infinite game, which is infinite games are like business. You don't win or lose business. You win business by being in business. Like the point of it is to stay in business, right?
Yeah.
Health, right? You don't win being healthy. The point is to stay in shape, to stay healthy. Marriage, you don't win marriage. The point is to stay married, right? So these infinite games, it's just doing a little bit every day. And
I love that concept. Because you're working for the future. Like basically, you're not in the past nor I'd say the present, because you're just remaining stable in where you're at. You know,
it's huge. I think my business partner Isaiah has this one saying. It's live like it's your last day, plan like you're going to live forever. I think it's a good balancing. He's always had a lot of balance where I have not had balance. I have been like over bearingly just work, which I've learned to not be like that as much because I need to be sustainable if I'm really going to be like, because it doesn't matter what I do in a year or 2 years. That's nothing. It's like the real results come over 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So who's going to be here in 15 years? Not me if I work like I had been the past year and a half, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's this mindset of this hustle culture on entrepreneurship where you have to work, which you do. You do have to put in the work in the hours, but I think working at a sustainable rate is much more important. Like there's no race. There's really no race to get there.
There's not.
And if you just play that long game and like, hey, I'm going to get there, whether it takes me 5 years or 10 years, I don't really care. I'm just never going to quit. And I'm going to do everything that I can every day, but I'm not going to drive myself over the edge so I'm miserable all day long or whatever. You're just overworking yourself. It's just for what?
Yeah.
For what? There's no point. I mean,
I've had that shift recently where, when I was first jumping into it, I was like, I got to answer every call. I got to do everything, do all this stuff. And I was burning myself out. And I was also like neglecting the other stuff in my life. And I got like this whole year, I'd say I've just been more taking things as they come and being grateful for the other things around the business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got to focus on the other things as well. And I think, just working at a sustainable rate is the biggest thing that you can do. And everyone's going to be different.
Yeah.
There's a quote, comparison is a thief of joy. And it is like the best quote of all time. You cannot compare yourself to anyone else.
No.
Because everyone else has different personality traits, different situations, different
values.
tools, different values, different skills.
Yeah.
So some people are going to be able to, work a little bit longer. Some people work less. It's just you have to really feel into who you are and what makes sense for you. Make sure you're being disciplined though. You're doing it every day. That's the biggest thing. Another quote from Simon Sinek is consistency over intensity. And that's one that I've had to take because I just want to rush and get there. I'm going to work 14 hours a day. I'm going to get there in 2 years.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No.
Right? Just work 8 hours a day.
Because like those 14 hours of work could be 2 hours of really productive work.
And that's the other thing too.
It's better to just have like if you want to be productive, put in the 2 to 4 hours of productivity that you're performing at 110% versus just like sitting around because you feel like you have to work the 14-hour day.
Yeah, and that's like your beliefs around. Well, there's certain beliefs that okay, we got to work 9 to 5, 40-hour weeks. Like that's a good solid week, 40-hour weeks. Why do we believe that? Because we've been conditioned to believe that because that's just how society's been for the last maybe 100 years, 150 years, right? You work the 40-hour week. But what if you are as productive as someone who works a 40-hour week in 30 hours or in 25 hours? Then what?
Yeah.
Then what, right? So it's not about the time.
Are you a more valued employee then or no?
Yeah, but I'm just saying like for yourself, I guess for entrepreneurs, right? That's why tracking like what are you actually getting done? Like don't tie yourself to time because time doesn't mean anything. It's like what are you actually getting done? You could work 10 hours a day and be distracted and not really get anything done. Or you could sit down for 4 hours, put your phone away and get more done than anyone does in 8 hours a day.
I love those like 45-minute spurts that I get where like I do like a million tasks in 45 minutes and it's like I just checked off a whole to-do list that has been in the back of my head for so long. It's like those little spurts of productivity are great.
Makes you feel incredible.
Yeah.
Especially like myself. I took the Clifton Strengths personality assessment. I strongly recommend it for anyone. I had everyone on my team take it.
Yeah.
Very insightful. There's a lot of action items you can take from it. Gives you like blind spots and helps you in the professional environment, but also your personal environment. It explains why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
But one of my things is I take immense satisfaction in being busy and productive. So I just like getting my to-do list done is the biggest satisfaction for me ever.
Yeah.
That's why I make sure I get things, for me personally, getting stuff done in the morning really sets the tone for my day. Because if I say I didn't work from, didn't start work till like 10 or 11, I'd feel behind the 8 ball just because of kind of my personality. But because I know I get that satisfaction in doing to-dos, I make sure when I get up, I'm doing stuff right off the bat because it kind of sets the tone for the day. Makes me feel like I've done something.
Do you give yourself grace in the morning though? Or like, are you really getting right into working?
Grace, I do meditate.
Okay.
So I meditate morning and evening.
That's good.
It's like right when I wake up, meditate, which meditate kind of a interesting term. I feel like people misinterpret, but I follow this guy, Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah. He's got some phenomenal things. And the reason I like how he explains meditation is because he brings science to it. He's like the first person to ever really demystify meditation and show the scientific results of meditation. He has the largest data set of brain waves for large group meditation sessions. So he has these massive people come, like thousands of people, and they're all hooked up to EKGs or EEGs or something.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think EKG is like the heart.
Yeah, not EKG. It's a something. It's like a brainwave sensor. Yeah. And they all have these sensors on. He takes them through these meditations and literally shows how it slows their brain waves down.
Wow.
And the effects it's had. But yeah, so it's really the word meditate from a Buddhist literature standpoint is to become familiar with. So that's really all it is. You sit there.
I think it's just being familiar with doing nothing.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Familiar, but becoming familiar with yourself though. Like you sit down for 20 minutes and close your eyes and your thoughts are going to go crazy. You start to really learn who you are. Like what are these thoughts that you just have on repeat in your head? What are they? Are they negative thoughts? Like when you just sit there and you don't think, are you thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna get the deal today. It's gonna be a tough day. Today's gonna suck. You know, like are there these negative thought patterns going through your head? If they are, you need to change those things.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's crucial. Like self-reflection every single day, sitting down. It doesn't have to be meditation, but reflection in general. Meditation is a form of that. But like, am I on the track that I want to be on?
Yeah.
You know, it's December 2024. In January, I probably thought my path was going to be one thing. It could be completely different now. So you got to check in. I got to check in with myself and be like, hey, am I still doing what I feel like I should be doing?
It's hard to do that too.
Yeah.
It's hard to like dissect the layers of your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
There's like sometimes where I'm like, I get the late night thoughts where like I'm up past my bedtime and I'm thinking about life, like the big, deep stuff. I'm like, all right, like, yeah, business is great. What like life check boxes have I not checked yet type of thing, you know? And it's, you go down those rabbit holes, but it's also like a character buildup.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, wow, I've been feeling not as great as my business reflects. Maybe be more with it, be more present.
Yeah. I think those are the good thoughts you need to have though.
They are.
Because you just put your head down and you work and you do your things and you go
It's
on
easy
your
to
merry
forget.
way.
Like when you're working a 9 to 5, you don't think about what you're feeling really. You're doing the thing, you're going home, you're making dinner, you're going to the gym. It's like you get into that routine. It's
on a hamster wheel.
Yeah. I like, dude, I have been so good at being present and grateful with everything that's been going on around me. Like whenever I see people, I'm just trying to spread positivity. Because like people will come up to me, okay, how's work? What's new with you? Still crushing it, right? I'm like, it's like, I almost don't want the compliment. I almost just like I just tell them like, I'm just grateful that I've been placed in the position that I'm in. And I'm happy that everything is going the way it is, you know? And I try to push more on them. How are you? You know, like what's positive in your life right now?
Yeah. That's great, man. It's the little things.
Yeah.
That attitude of gratitude and being optimistic and positive. We definitely need more of it in the world. It's easy to be negative, look at the bad things. Yeah. Helping other people, pushing them to be great. Yeah. You know, and absolutely being appreciative is everything. Because especially with our goals and the things that we chase after, it's never ending. You know, the goal just becomes a goal post. Or just becomes a mile marker more than anything, right? Oh, let's get the business to $1 million, or let's make $300,000 in income. Yeah, and then you get there, and then it's like, oh, well, I made $300,000. Let's make $500,000 in income. Or we did $1 million in the business. Let's do $2 million. It never ends. Yeah, right. It's a constant journey. So, just being appreciative that you've even made it this far. Yeah, you know, like I look at where I am now, just to be a full-time entrepreneur and own the business and run the business. Like take it so for granted. Like even 2.5 years ago, all I wanted to do was do a deal a month. That's all I wanted to do. I was like, if I could just be a full-time entrepreneur, I'd be so happy, XYZ. And that's a dangerous statement. Once I do XYZ, I'm going to be so happy. It's like, no, you just choose to be now, right? Be happy in the now. Yeah. When you're searching for things outside, that's going to try to change your internal state. It's a tough game. Like being materialistic, buying the flashy things, working hard for those things. And that, I think that goes back to what you were saying. Like you were becoming an entrepreneur because you wanted
other people to appreciate you, or you felt that you needed that, right?
Childhood traumas.
Yeah, I forget how you worded it. But I feel that. I feel like, a big thing is like you want others to accept you for who you are. And when you get into an entrepreneur or journey like that, right, you see a lot of other people that are doing better. Everyone's always doing better than you. That way, that's like you have to be that good so that others can look at you like you look at them. And that's also a never ending thing. And like you said, comparison's the thief of joy. I feel like a lot of people do get into a business like this or like ours, real estate or whatever it may be, and they just think that once they do the thing, they're going to be happy, content, and everyone's going to love them. But if you're a bad person and you become an entrepreneur, people are still going to think you're a bad person, even if you are successful. Success doesn't make you become this different person, I don't think.
Yeah. And newsflash, hey, no one really cares what you're doing.
No one does.
Because everyone's so worried about themselves.
They're so focused. Yeah, they're so focused on themselves.
No one even cares like what you're doing or what you're driving. No one cares.
Yeah.
Like they are just so focused on themselves. I think that's why it's such an empty feeling too for people when you're chasing after things, because you think that you're going to get this love and this appreciation, but you just don't.
Yeah.
You just don't. So if you're not doing it because it genuinely makes you feel good, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Like now, like when I initially started the business, it was like, okay, let's make a lot of money. Never even had any money.
Let's talk about the business a little bit. Tell people a little bit about what it is.
Yeah. So the business is basically
simple terms.
Simple terms.
Yeah.
The people who inherit properties or are going through pre-foreclosure or have old rundown houses, we buy those properties. Yeah. In the simplest terms, that's what we do.
Buy the ugly houses.
Buy the ugly houses. It's an off-market real estate acquisition company. That's what we do. We go direct to seller. So things that are not listed on the MLS, right, with a realtor, just people who may not have expressed any interest. We might give them a cold call or reach out to them, or we do some marketing on Google. Some people search on Google, hey, I'm looking to sell. If they like inherited a property, they don't want it. And then our company basically walks them through our process, makes sure it's a good fit for both of us, and tries to negotiate a deal that makes sense for us. And we purchase the property. So it's really just a marketing and sales business.
And how many people do you have working under you?
We have in the company, I think we have about 18 people. So Isaiah and I both own the company together. He kind of runs the operations and the dispositions. Not to get technical, but he runs kind of the back half. I run the front half of the business. We got about, I think we have like 9 people on the acquisitions team, and the other 9 are like operations, administrative, TC, things like that.
Imagine being 26 and employing 18 people.
Yeah. I don't really think about it. It's interesting.
A lot of people can't even manage themselves, and you're out here managing 18 people basically.
Yeah. It's been a huge year for growth in terms of leading the business. Cause last year in 2023, it was just Isaiah and I in the business, and we were just doing it together. Right. I was running all of acquisitions. He was doing dispositions. So just to back up. So basically what we do is wholesale houses. So basically we will get a deal off market and we'll sell that deal to an investor. So Isaiah sells it to the investor, right? I'm on the acquisition with the homeowner, and then Isaiah does on the back half. He sells it to the investor. So it's sales on the back end as well. But it was just me and him doing that. And then 2024, this year, has really been the year of hiring people, building a team. And we've over doubled our revenue from last year just because we have people, just because we have team. And we, I hired our first acquisition rep. Like we had cold callers and appointment setters and stuff, but our first actual closer in January of this year. And I didn't get 2 that could actually produce until August. 9 months, man, of just not knowing what I was doing, hiring these people. They clearly weren't a good fit looking back at it, but they were with us for a number of months. Yeah. And part of it definitely wasn't all their fault, right? We didn't have our marketing in place. Like there's a lot of things that weren't lined up properly, but in hindsight, it's just so easy to see now. But yeah, it's really been learning about leadership and management. Like, that's a huge thing, man. Yeah. Especially on acquisitions, people take that stuff for granted. It's very hard to be a good leader. It is. It's hard to be a leader, but it's even harder to be a good leader. Well, yeah, I think I think being a leader is like an entrepreneur, like being an entrepreneur. It's like a sexy term. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but it's like, do you even know what that is? Right?
Yeah.
I want to be a manager because it's the next rung up on the ladder.
Yeah.
But what does that even, it's really just doing the hardest things that no one else wants to do. That's what it is. Right?
True.
When I'm an acquisition rep, when I'm a sales manager, like I am now for like playing that role, I have to deal with everything that the acquisition reps can't deal with. Right? So it's basically the hardest problems. Next quarter, I hire a sales manager, right? Then I go to upper management or whatever you want to call it. I'm dealing with everything that the sales managers can't deal with, right?
Yeah.
So whatever the acquisition reps can't deal with, the sales managers have to deal with. Whatever they can't deal with, I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So those are the most difficult things again, right? And then you go hire upper management. You hire director of acquisitions or C-suite executives, and you're just an owner, right? Then what problems come to you? Everything that everyone else can't solve, you as the owner have to solve.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get any easier. You just get better.
Get the systems better too.
Yeah, the system's better, but just managing people. And one of the most difficult things I think about management is that, like I said before, you're responsible for everyone's results. So, but you can't just tell people what to do. That's not how they operate. You can't just be like, do this, do that, right? People have minds of their own. So you have to learn how are they motivated so that you can keep them motivated, right? How can you keep them accountable? How can you because I have certain knowledge in my head about how to close deals, right? So I'm trying to teach that to the reps.
Yeah.
But, people learn in different ways. I have to figure out how can I communicate that to get them to perform. And it's a virtual company too. So it'd be one thing if everyone was in the office, you could see them every day, like, hey, don't say that ever again on the phone. Or what are you doing? You've been outside for 45 minutes. I have no idea what's going on. So being accountable, the biggest thing virtually is the KPIs and stuff, and making sure they're hitting them. That's kind of how I know that they're doing enough for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, leadership and management has been the biggest thing this year.
It's bizarre, man. Like I applaud you for managing all that stuff. And, it's a lot of juggling and takes a lot of commitment, and you really are just dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Well, have you had any role models like that got you to this point?
Yeah. Variety of role models. I think the cool thing about podcasts and things like that is that you can kind of pick your mentors. Whoever you just decide to listen to, you can pick a mentor. Like Isaiah and I both love following Alex Hormozy. It's probably a lot of people know from the business side of things, not necessarily real estate, but just like business, and Layla Hormozy as well. Layla's more with the people and hiring and management, and Alex is more, he's more like sales and acquisitions and kind of visionary stuff.
Like the front runner.
Yeah, the front runner. But both of them, we listen to them religiously, podcasts. I'd say from a business perspective, that's the biggest one. We have a business coach who's phenomenal. His name's Forrest Blackburn. He's an absolute killer. He's been in the business for 20 years. So he's actually been the biggest reason we've had such an increase this year as well. We got a business coach, which is huge. So he's been around.
How often do you meet with him?
Once a week.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Now it's back to like every other week.
Is that pretty costly to have a business coach?
Yeah. Yep. It was, I mean, you can spend for a business coach, you can spend anywhere from, $5,000. Well, you could spend any amount of money. Yeah. $5,000 to $30,000 or more, probably.
A year or a month?
A year.
A year. Yeah. Like a one-time fee.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's worth it. So you pay, $10,000, $15,000 for a business coach for however long, even 6 months or 9 months or a year. That's one deal.
Sometimes I feel like it's hard to find the right one though. And like they want you putting money up front, so you're kind of taking a risk there. Cause I know like, Anthony Nucci, who's like, I don't know if you know him, he's a realtor in like Florida, but one of the guys I know bought his course and it was $7,000 and he meets with him once a month for like an hour. I don't know if that's really worth it in my opinion.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because what if you have one meeting? What if it's $20,000, right? Yeah. $20,000, one meeting with someone. Yeah. But that in that one meeting, you get one idea or one thing shifts in your brain that takes your business from $400,000 a year to $800,000 a year. Yeah. Would that $20,000 meeting be worth it? Yeah. Yeah, it would. So it really depends. I mean, you see these people paying for masterminds $50,000 to get into a mastermind. I know. For one meeting. Yeah. Right? Because they're just looking for that one nugget or that one thing that's going to take their business that's doing a few $1 million a year to $10 million a year, $15 million a year.
Yep.
So it's an interesting thing. But yeah, finding the right person is definitely huge.
What would you suggest to like a younger person looking to go the entrepreneurial route, but they don't know like where to go with it? Because you have the mindset of an entrepreneur. I feel like you'd be able to guide someone who maybe even not even a young person, someone who's looking to shift, shift their life kind of thing.
Like what they should do in entrepreneurship, you're saying?
Or how they should go about finding the right information to get.
Yeah, that's such a broad thing. Entrepreneurship, right? It could be real estate. It could be other things.
What do you think the best industry is? You think real estate's the best industry?
Nah, I don't know. Real estate's great. I think there's it depends what your goals are. I think if you're really trying to scale, real estate's not it. Like the biggest businesses that are like billions of dollars, those are the ones like the simple ones, like a roofing company. Yeah. Or it's like a window company or something.
I think roofing is like a cheat code, dude.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. Like material cost is so low and you could just like put a roof on, profit, you know?
I think, but in terms of that, I think one, I would say take a Clifton Strengths personality assessment and understand what your strengths are. Understand what your strengths are before you do anything. And you want to focus on those things, right? If your strengths are doing and executing, then maybe you do go into like a sales role or something where you can do that. If you're more of a strategic person, then, search out things that are more strategic. If you're more of like an influencer and you can activate people and you like being with people, or you could be a relationship builder, right? So those are like the 4 categories of the Clifton Strengths. Understanding where you fit in as an entrepreneur, because typically you're going to need a team around you. So understanding what your strengths are, you'll know what kind of team to hire around you. But I think, and then in terms of what you want to do in the entrepreneur space, specifically in terms of real estate or other industries, I think it comes back to your strengths and understanding, do you like sales? Do you like this? Do you like that? And then what value do you want to provide? Because that's what you should be leading with. You should be leading with value. So what kind of value do you want to provide? Like someone getting into real estate, for example, might like to be in real estate because they like talking to sellers and they like helping sellers out of difficult situations because that makes them feel good. And that's the value add to the community, right? So that would be a good reason to get into wholesale real estate or real estate off-market acquisitions, because you like to talk to sellers, you like to talk to people, you like to help people get out of difficult situations, and then obviously make a good amount of money doing it. Yeah. So that'd be a good reason. So understand your reason for doing it. And
was that your why? Like why you got into your field?
Not originally. It was just money.
It was all money.
It was money,
focus,
man. Yeah. I was like, I mean, now it's way more that.
Yeah.
Now it's more about the company though.
Yeah.
Now it's way more exciting to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way more exciting for me to come in and like talk to our team and do our meetings and develop them and see them succeed. Like that's more exciting than anything. But when I got into it, it was money for sure. I was like, oh, you can make $80,000? Sign me up.
Yeah.
I was listening to Wholesale Hotline. And I have
listened to that one. I listened to a couple episodes. I was
blown away. Brent Daniels, he was a big mentor for me starting. Brent Daniels, he does things the right way. He's so much energy.
He's good on the phone.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, $80,000 blew my mind. So you can do $80,000 on one deal.
Yeah.
People doing like $127,000.
How much have you made on your biggest deal?
Our biggest deal was $161,000.
What?
Yeah, and it was supposed to be $300,000.
Was that this year?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it was supposed to be $300,000 on one wholesale deal.
What happened? Why didn't you get the 300?
It's a long story, but the buyer, went around our back to the seller and this and that, and he knew we were making a lot of money, and it was one of the worst experiences, honestly, with the buyer. Just
more money, more problems.
Yeah,
right?
He was just being super shady and just a really bad experience. But in the end, we made it. We were like all salty. We made 160. It's like, grow up.
Yeah.
Because we wanted the 3.
Oh, I made someone's salary in a day.
Yeah. Shit. It was, but yeah, that was the larger property. And anytime that you get over, so we did 160. We had another deal that fell through because of environmental concerns. It was we had a buyer locked in $255,000 spread, $255,000. Wow. But the price point was like 1.2 million. So if you get over $1 million price points, I mean, making $100,000 is not like a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Because think about it, like say you make 10% on a $500,000 property, you make 50 grand. 10% on 1.2 million is 120,000, right?
Yeah.
Same percentage, but it's just more money. So yeah, anytime that we've done a deals over $1 million, it's been like close to 100,000 spread, if not over. But yeah, deals are out there.
I guess so.
Deals are out there.
That's a lot of money to be making on one transaction.
Yeah, and that was huge for us earlier this year. Because earlier this year,
That
I was
helped
trying
you
to
hire, didn't it?
dude, helped us so much.
Yeah.
Like, and now we're like finally catching up because we got the right people in place.
Yeah.
And we have the systems because of Force and the coach and all these things. Like,
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. Like, if we didn't hire the coach, we would be not even close to where we are right now. Not even close.
Wow.
Like, we thought we were close to where we wanted to be. We were so far.
Does your coach also do wholesaling?
Yeah, he's been doing it for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he owns 2 wholesale companies, and he also helps people around the nation do specifically virtual wholesale.
Wow.
So it comes in, and we had already had some traction, which helped. But he was
Yeah.
like, tweak this, pull this, and it was just like 3 to 4 months of us just heavily changing the processes and the systems.
Yeah.
Right? He came in May. And then June, July, August, didn't really see the results, but we were just changing things. New marketing process, new inbound lead process, new drip campaigns, hiring. How do you manage? How do you set up the meetings between all the teams? Like getting everything in place. And then finally, when we had the right people in place to actually perform on it, then it hit, and we went and we tripled our business per month from 1 month to the next month, like that. And then it's been like that every single month since.
Wow.
So it's interesting like that. Like it doesn't, you don't grow linearly.
Yeah. No.
Right. It's just like you just pop up and you jump up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so having him was
And you got to
huge.
capitalize when that time does come, you know?
Yeah. So that deal though, like helped us out a lot because it allowed us to fund that business while we were, not crushing it in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But it held us over to where we are now, where now we have we're more steady.
That's awesome.
We have the stuff. So it's business though, right?
Yeah. Good for you. So what are your what are you shooting for like sales volume for next year?
Next year our goal is 2 million in revenue.
Okay.
In assignment revenue. This year, so 2023 we did like 350, I think, with just Isaiah and I.
Okay.
And then this year we've done like 550 or 6 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big month for us. We're gonna project to close like 140 or something this month. So I think
December is a hot month this time of year, I guess.
Yeah. So I think we'll do like, I don't know. I'm hoping we'll get into the 8s, get to 7, whatever.
Yeah.
It's been a great year regardless. Again, super grateful for how much progress we've made.
Yeah.
Next year, I think we can definitely do 2 million based on how much we've been doing every month since October. If we keep that pace up, it should be 2 to 2.5 million. Then the year after that, we'll get it to 4 or 5. Wow. If we're growing linearly, but who says? Maybe we could just do that, next year.
Yeah,
but the goal is to really get it to like 5 to 6 million and kind of have it sustain at that rate and optimize. And yeah, but it's a journey. It's not even about that though. It's just about, like I said, it's like about all the lessons and character and everything you're learning along the way. That's what you could take from it, because this business isn't even really about making money. It's more about learning.
Yeah.
Right. It's more about learning all the things. Like I'm learning sales. I'm learning how to manage people. I'm learning how to lead. I'm learning about finances. I'm learning about hiring, operations, all those things, which I can then go apply to other things as well.
Do you ever get bored of it?
No.
Never.
You can get a little stressed out.
Yeah.
But never get bored. No. I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, hear someone say, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the last time I was bored.
Yeah.
There's always something I'm doing, right? So it's either building the business, or it's something to recharge my batteries,
Gotcha.
Something personal, being outside or hanging out with people.
Yeah.
There's always something. I just toggle between those two things: build the business and recharging the batteries.
I feel like you're probably really good at doing that, and you seem very balanced.
Yeah. I'm more okay with it now. Before I wasn't at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't balanced at all. I would just do business. And again, I think that came from a spot of I felt like I needed to work 12 hours a day or 13 hours a day, or I didn't feel like I was doing enough. I didn't feel like I was doing enough.
Yeah.
But what is enough,
Exactly.
What is enough? It's never enough. But now I'm much more comfortable with working a little bit less and being like, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's plenty, right? if I'm playing the infinite game, as long as I got up today and did something, then that's fine. I don't need to go all out every single day.
Direction.
It's a step in the right direction. And not in completely detaching from the outcomes of things. That's huge.
Yes.
Law of detachment. So
yes.
we talked about this the other day when we were at dinner, but detaching, like, I don't need the money, right? Like, I don't need the business. I don't need the deals. I don't need any of it, right? I'm grateful for it when I have it, and I would like it, obviously, but I don't need it. It's not like the end of the world if I don't have it. And that type of mentality, obviously I've been doing everything in my power to keep the business going and all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
But that type of mentality helps you relax a little bit and be like, it's okay. You know?
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. And don't take life so seriously. Because, hey, guess what? There's 8 billion people on the planet, and we're floating around in the middle of freaking the universe. Like, nothing even really matters. So we get so caught up in our day to day, like it's the end of the world. Like,
I think it's like the law of abundance, you know, like there's abundance out there. Like, you don't need that one transaction because guess what? There's another one right down the line coming your way. You just don't see it yet.
Exactly. And that's where I think doing the right thing and like the whole notion of karma is like a very real thing. Like, you're doing the right thing, you're leading with value. Okay, you don't get out on this one, you're going to find another one. And if you're thinking abundantly, things just happen in a certain way. Like, if you're thinking abundantly, they just happen in a certain way, and those opportunities will come across your plate. But if you have this scarcity mindset, like, I need to take it all, mine, then things just get farther away from you. And that's like kind of, I think it goes hand in hand, the abundance and the law of detachment. Because it's like, hey, it's fine, you know? This is not going to work out. You can't really control the outcome. I guess that's like stoicism too, but it's just, what can I control today?
Yeah.
And even on a sales call, it's huge. If you detach from the outcome of a sales call, like, you don't care if you get the deal or not, right?
You don't care if someone says no to you.
Yeah, you don't care if someone says no, and you don't care if you blow it. Because that was some of the most anxiety I had on these sales calls when I used to do a lot of them. I'm still hopping on the phone with sellers, obviously, but is I'd get on the phone and just be like, oh my God, I better not mess this up. I better not mess it up, right? Obviously, you're not going to be having the best conversation you could possibly have, but if you just get on the phone and say, hey, I'm just going to have a conversation, see if we can come to a win-win solution, and I don't care if it's a deal or not a deal. Then you're getting on the phone, you're so relaxed, you don't care, and you're going to crush it. You're going to absolutely crush it. I heard this thing, someone say, David Guillaume actually, was on a Lewis Howes podcast, School of Greatness podcast, which is another really good podcast. And he said, one of his mentors had told him, you're only fearful when you're trying to take from someone. You're never fearful if your goal is to give. There's no fear in giving, right? Like, you get on the stage and you're nervous for the presentation because you're trying to take things from people in the sense of like their approval, right? You're afraid what they're going to think of you, this and that. Their approval, are they going to like what you have to say, this and that. But if you were to get on stage and say, you know, give everyone $10,000, you wouldn't be nervous for that.
No.
If you were to get on stage and be like, I'm going to personally write everyone a check for $10,000. You're not going to be scared, right? Same thing with seller calls or listing calls or whatever it is. If your goal is to get on the phone and help someone, you're trying to give to someone, you're never going to be nervous. There's no pressure in giving. But when you're thinking about yourself on these calls, that's when the anxiety kicks in. That's when the fear and the pressure kicks in.
That's a good
You're thinking
mindset.
like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to get the listing or not? Are they going to choose me? Blah, blah, blah. Making it about you. It's not about you. So it's like this reverse psychology. When you don't make it about you, the more comes back to you, you know?
That was literally like my listing appointment today. I was one of 3 agents that was getting interviewed. I was the second one in the door, and I didn't feel any pressure from it because I'm like, I've been on enough of these. There's going to be more to come, even if he doesn't pick me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be a good person to this guy right here,
100%,
who's selling his house, you know, and I'm going to provide and show that I have value to offer him. And that's that. If he doesn't go my way, it doesn't go my way.
Exactly. There's
next.
no pressure. Yeah. It's like you completely detach from the outcome of that listing appointment. You're like, hey, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be me. I know the value I provide. If it's meant to happen, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not here to force anything.
But like 2 years ago, like if I was on a listing appointment, I would have been like losing my mind. Like, why didn't they pick me? This is horrible. Like I did everything right, you know?
I think it can be hard to have that mindset though when you're starting.
It is.
Because when you don't have anything or don't have the experience, how do you act like you don't need the deal? You know?
That's
that takes
very
a lot.
True.
It takes
That's
a lot.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you almost have to sacrifice that for a little bit, like not being able to give right?
Well, no, I think you can do it right off the bat. Just it takes some conditioning. You got to reframe your mindset around it. Like say you want to do direct to seller acquisitions, you want to, talk to sellers and get deals.
Yeah.
You just really have to understand from the get-go that he who needs it less always wins. He who needs it less always wins. So if you're getting on the phone hungry, they're going to sense that and you're not going to get deals, right?
Yeah.
Because again, you're attached to the outcome. You cannot be attached to the outcome. You just got to get on the phone and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Never happens. And that's been the biggest mindset shifts for me, even over the past few months, just about everything. Just attaching from the outcome and just showing up as yourself. Because that's when you're most in the flow state with everything.
That makes sense.
You can just perform. You're not as restricted.
Yeah. Have you thought about like speaking engagements? Like doing like big group speaking engagements?
Yeah. I used to be, it's funny though, in college, I was deathly afraid of public speaking. Freshman year, I had
Really? I never would have thought.
Freshman year, I had to do a presentation for like our little group at UNH. Dude, I almost passed out. I literally almost passed out. We had a presentation. It was like 5 of us up there. I just remember being in my suit, dude, and my legs literally shaking. And I was like, no one even mentioned anything after, but I'm like, everyone definitely saw my legs just like straight up shaking. Like I literally like blacked out like at the presentation.
Wow.
It was wild. And
you know what? People probably didn't notice.
Yeah, I know. It is crazy. But literally, like I like blacked out as I was speaking. I came back to, and I was like, I have to keep going. Like the second everyone's eyes went on me, and then I identified as like, oh, I hate public speaking. I'm not good at it. That's another thing too. Is like, what do you identify as? But then I forcefully put myself in. Then I joined this group in college called the Atkins Investment Group. Pretty much like an investment banking group. And every quarter, you had to make 2 presentations, 45-minute long presentation in front of people.
Wow.
So I went into that. And purposely, because I was like, I have to get up and be in front of people. And those were like terrifying too. But what I learned about public speaking too is that you always get the butterflies before, but the second you start speaking, it all goes away, right? It's always the anticipation. Then as soon as you're into it, you're in the flow, all the things, right? So just having that mindset shift of like, it's okay to be nervous, like to have the butterflies or the
part of the game.
The nerves is part of the game, right? It means you're excited. It means you care about it, right? But not getting mentally sucked into that and being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up all these things, It's like, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
And then mentally you're calm. You got the little jitters in here, but they call that eustress. It's like a healthy stress, but it actually helps you perform better. You're more alert, you're more sharp, you're more articulate, you're more clear, you're more focused, you can work through your points better. So all of that is good. So I've done a few speaking engagements down in Tampa actually, which I loved. And yeah, I definitely want to do more of them. That's one of my favorite things to do in the whole world is I love to learn. And because I love to learn, I love to share it with people.
Yeah. And you consume it the best when you're sharing it or teaching it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the best ways to learn something is to teach it.
Yeah.
Which I had a limiting belief about that at first because especially sales, right? And I'm no sales guru, right? Like I only know sales from what I've learned over the past 2-3 years of the seller calls, right? So, I've probably done, just cold calling alone, actually crazy stat, cold calling alone, when I stopped cold calling in the beginning of 2023, I talked to like 20,000 sellers or something. Or like ask them if they would consider an offer on their house. That was just cold calling, not like really closing. Some of it was closing.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot of that just by sheer volume.
Yeah.
Right. Took in a few sales trainings. I forget where I was going at this point. About sales.
I want to get better at the speaking aspect of things, I guess it's like you said, it's what you describe yourself as.
Speaking engagements, right? Speaking engagements.
Yeah.
I was saying how I like to learn and teach. The limiting belief around teaching. So I had 2 years of sales experience. I still didn't feel like I was an expert, so I felt like I shouldn't be teaching.
Yeah, like
it was like an imposter syndrome.
Be on the stage.
Yeah, I was like, who am I to be telling people X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
Or even Optimize REI, like our Facebook group.
Yeah.
I would just be like, well, there's definitely people who know more about sales than me. I feel like a fraud for trying to teach people about sales. Mm-hmm. But that's just a limiting mindset, You're always going to kind of feel like an imposter when you start to do those things, but you just be authentic about it. You say, hey, this is what I do know. This is what, and if you frame it like this is what's worked well for me, instead of saying, this is what you should do. Because when I say this is what you should do, then people are like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
What's your experience? But when I say this is what's worked
Why
well
should
for
I listen to you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if I say this is what's worked well for me and my experience, what are they going to say? No, it didn't work well for you and your experience. And then they can take with it what they want. So that's kind of the mindset I like to have, especially too with my social media, to be like, hey, this is what worked well for me. That's something I learned from Alex Hormozy with your social media is don't tell someone you, because then you get that response.
Yeah.
Who are you? Why should I listen to you?
I like talking from experiences and sharing experiences.
Because then it's valid. Then it's genuine. Right. And you say, hey, and if you don't know things, you say, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Or admitting when you didn't know.
Yes.
I think that shows more value.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if you admit what you don't know, then people take more seriously what you do preach. Right.
It's accountability with yourself, Yeah. That's not an easy thing.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yeah, teaching is I think everyone should be teaching. That's just like a value add too for people, right?
Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot by kind of helping raise my brother. Like he's 10, he's young, like he's starting to form into a person. I think you learn a lot raising someone.
Oh yeah.
And you want to, and it's a different level when you start wanting to teach other people of your age or maybe older, Yeah. It'd be tough to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Teaching, you really have to, there's a line, I don't know who said it, but it's like, if you can't explain something to a fourth grader, then you don't really understand it. If you can't explain something on like fourth grade level terms, and you don't really understand it, because being able to break something down so simply like that, you have to have such a good understanding of it.
Yeah.
And that's, since I've had the acquisition reps too, and both my acquisition reps have more sales experience than I do, right?
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So, but being able to break down the concepts that I've learned to them has really helped me become so much better.
Yeah.
Like if I were to get back on the phones now and just be a straight acquisition rep, oh my gosh, I'd be scared.
Would you be? Yeah.
I'd be scared for other people.
Oh,
because
okay,
I would just be buying everything.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But I would be way different, right?
Yeah.
I would be, because I've had to teach these concepts. I had all these things in my head about how I knew to be an acquisition rep.
Yeah.
And then over the past year, I've literally been explaining it to people for a whole year, just teaching it. So that stuff is just solidified in my mind. And when I say like, hey, you have to do it this way, right? Maybe I didn't think about why I needed to do it that way. But then when they're questioning me, I have to go deeper into that. Well, you have to do it because of this and because of that. And you just get such a deeper understanding of things.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the experiences you go through, you really do dissect the different layers of the topic.
Yeah.
But that's very true.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah, good stuff, dude. What's you were just in Europe recently. For how long again?
2 months.
So like you were in Europe for 2 months managing this business and it didn't sink. Like how does it feel to be able to travel the world, experience life all while still working? Because some people don't have that.
Yeah. It's an incredible privilege.
Yeah.
That's what it is, honestly. Yeah, we went to, Isaiah and I both went. It's an interesting thing because we started the business out and we were like, the whole purpose was to travel. And he had been traveling for a while. Isaiah's been to Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Bali. He was in Nicaragua for like 2 months. Meanwhile, I was down in Florida, which was great and all these things. And I always told people, yeah, it's virtual, so I can work from anywhere. Meanwhile, I'm just working from the same place. I'm not taking advantage of it. And I'm just like, screw it. Let's go to Europe for 2 months. So we did that, 14 different countries. So we would basically wake up around 8 or 9. We would go explore the cities and the different spots until about 2, and then they're 6 hours ahead. So then we would work from 3 to like 11 or 11:30 p.m. And it was great. Yeah, we didn't miss a beat, and it was good too because some of the team was like, hey, because as a manager too, one of your biggest things is bringing energy for the team, right? Yeah. You're setting the pace. Like, hey, you guys come in, you bring such good energy. It's like, it really helps us all perform in our roles. Like, I really don't want this to slow down when you guys go to Europe and XYZ. And I was like, we'd already been in Europe for 3 weeks. I was like, good.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we've already been here for a few weeks. I'm like, oh, okay, great, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I don't think that they really felt any difference whatsoever.
That's good.
Because there's really no difference, right? It's all in Zoom. So you log into Zoom, you have a background.
I wish my career was more virtual.
Yeah.
Because that would be unreal.
But that was an incredible experience too. It was, went to 14 different countries. So flew into Netherlands, and then we went to Belgium. Netherlands and Belgium, beautiful farmlands. Belgium has beautiful medieval feel. We went to Bruges in Brussels. But then some beautiful
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, Brussels sprouts. I don't know. No, I don't.
Is that where the Brussels sprout was made?
It might be.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Netherlands, biking capital of the world. There's 1.2 bikes for every person. You've never seen so many bicycles in your life. You walk down the streets, they're just piled up on the sides of the streets like crazy. Everyone bikes.
Really?
Everyone freaking bikes. Like it's crazy. It's pretty cool though, because there's bike lanes everywhere. You can, you can just bike everywhere.
Would you say there's more bikes than cars?
Definitely, I would say. For sure. So we went to Netherlands, Belgium, went down to Munich, Germany, into Austria, beautiful Austrian Alps, massive mountains. Highly recommend that for anyone who likes to ski. And then we went into Liechtenstein, which is right in between Austria and Switzerland. It's like a little country. Mm-hmm. And I learned this from my cousin the other day. It's one of only 2 countries in the world that is landlocked and also surrounded by countries that are all landlocked. So it's a very landlocked country.
Wow.
So to be landlocked means you're not exposed to any ocean, right?
Yep.
But then every country around Liechtenstein is also landlocked. There's only like 2 countries in the world that are like that, and that's one of them. Liechtenstein. It's a tiny little thing. We stopped in there.
Liechtenstein, is that in Germany?
No, it's its own country.
Oh, okay.
And it's in between Austria and Switzerland. So if you're looking at a map, there's Switzerland, and to the east of it, or to the right of it, is Liechtenstein, and then Austria.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to Switzerland, down to Italy, which was amazing. Southern coast of France, French Riviera. Highly recommend. That was great. And then Monaco, which I thought was in France. It's its own country. I was telling everyone, like, yeah, I'm going to Monaco, France. Going to Monaco, France. It's going to be great.
Monaco is its own country. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's like, it's tiny. It must be like 5 square miles. I don't know. Something.
Very rich country.
Yeah, very rich. Everyone's driving freaking Ferraris, McLarens, Bentleys.
It's crazy.
The poor people drive the Mercedes.
It's a whole different world out there.
Yeah, whole different world.
In Europe in general.
Yeah. Italy, then went to Croatia, which was my top spot for sure. Beautiful.
You never would have guessed you were gone. You weren't posting pictures every single day.
No, and I didn't. Well, yeah, I kind of did that too. I didn't want it to be a distraction for anyone on the team either, within the company, to see me like doing all these things. I wanted to be like focused. I did post one at the very end. Yeah. But I shouldn't want it to be like, oh, he's off doing XYZ, blah, 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 blah. Right?
It's good. It helps you be present in those moments when you were traveling too.
Exactly. Croatia, then went up to Hungary. Budapest is an incredible city. A lot of architecture and like monuments there, and they have some hot springs.
You probably almost checked off everywhere over there.
Slovenia and Slovakia we went to, and then we ended in Czechoslovakia. Not Czechoslovakia. Czech Republic is what it's called now. Prague, which is a cool spot. Really cool spot, Prague. And we flew back.
And did you have tour guides when you were doing all this stuff?
We just kind of did our own thing. ChatGPT is the best tour guide ever. Isaiah discovered it, and it was genius. Really? You type into ChatGPT, literally is what we type in. It'd be like, hey, we're in Monaco, France for 4 days. We can only explore from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a rental car. We have to be back by 2:30 every day. What can we do? Boop, spits it out. Go here in the morning to this coffee shop. Go over here to the castle at noon. Sit at this restaurant. Look at the view. Then you can drive back here for 1:30 and you'll be back at 2:30 to work. We I did that every time I went to a spot.
That's great.
So every time we were at a spot, like we were in Venice for one night. Like, hey, in Venice for one night, not working. We're here from 7 to midnight. What can we do?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Spits it out.
I wonder if you could have done that like with the whole trip plan. Like saying, hey, I'm going to Europe.
Probably.
I'm visiting 14 countries. Map out the best route to go from this country all the way to this country
Yeah.
by hitting all the ones in the middle.
Definitely could have.
You know,
But we didn't plan for 14. We planned for like 5.
that's a big switch up.
Yeah, we just, I mean,
You guys are just like, let's run it. Let's
yeah, every
You're
week,
playing real life risk.
yeah, every week we were in a new thing. I mean, because sometimes we'd do like 2 countries in a day or like 3 countries in a day.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like Switzerland, Italy, France.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, so the biggest thing though, yeah, and then work obviously is definitely challenging, but it was important for me to show up at work like nothing was different, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was my responsibility,
Yeah.
which I think we did a good job of, but we had our 2 best months ever
While
we
you
were there.
away, yeah.
So it was pretty fortunate for the whole thing.
So more trips coming next year.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I want to get to like Portugal and Spain for sure.
Yeah.
The Britain, Scotland, Ireland, things like that. I don't know when I'll do that, but yeah. I'd say in terms of Europeans, what do they do? So the Europeans, their food is much healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have higher standards on their food, I think.
Yeah. I've
Like
heard
for
that.
example, like everyone drinks a tap water in every country. It's like filtered and there's like a much higher standard on like the water. Everyone drinks it out of the faucet. Like when we were in Croatia, we drank from the freaking river. It's like the Dragon Eye Lake up in the mountain. You like drink the water. So everyone drinks tap water. And it's like really good water for one. Like you know, it'd be tough to drink tap water in like Manchester. You know, it's like not great. I mean, you can obviously, but a bunch of stuff in that. And then the food itself is just so much less preservatives. It's much more farm to fork.
Yeah, fresh.
Like it's right from there. You bring it in. Like stuff doesn't last as long in your house. Like you buy vegetables, it's gone. It's like ruined in 3 days if you don't eat it. So you could eat a lot. You don't feel like bloated. Like even the pasta,
Oh, that's great.
big pasta dish, whatever. You're not like as bloated as you would be here. So I'm very strict with my diet. I was able to be a little bit more free over there, which was nice. That's one thing that's great about the Europeans. They have much better public transportation in Europe. For sure, right? It's much more commonplace to take, they have like trolleys everywhere. That's what they have, which is like on the road and it's connected by those wires
San
up
Francisco.
top. Yeah, like San Francisco.
Yeah.
But they're like nice. They're like updated new trolleys.
Okay.
It's very common for people to bike. There's bike lanes everywhere. Take the trolley
Yeah.
and then train. They train all over the place. So much better public transportation infrastructure, which I think, because over here it's like shit. You take the bus, it's like, oh, you're poor, like this and that. But over there, it's like everyone does that.
It's cleaner.
Cleaner.
I bet. Yeah.
The cities are very clean. Yeah, very clean. Not like Boston. That it could be kind of dirty in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Very clean. A lot of cool coffee shops.
Oh,
a lot
I bet.
of cool
I
coffee
bet.
shops, man. Like
You probably ate that up.
dude,
I know
we were
that's your
ripping the
bread and butter right
espresso.
there.
Yeah, the Americano every day.
I know when we first met, you put me onto Nero.
Oh, Cafe Nero.
Yeah.
That's the best one around here.
Yeah.
I want to buy Cafe Nero.
You are?
Yeah.
You could.
Making that declaration right here on Real Talk.
That
I
is
will buy
some
Cafe
real
Nero.
shit, dude.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, that's the most authentic kind of European style feel cafe I've seen around here. Because a lot of them are very like,
That's true.
very commercialized. Like you go in, it's not like, it doesn't feel like it does. Like you go to Europe and the coffee shops and they're just, the ambiance is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there, it's cozy, the lighting's great.
They got the books on
They
the
got the
shelves.
books,
It's
or
like,
whatever it
feels
is.
so good. Yeah.
And there's so many cafes and they're all unique.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of chain cafes over there. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful over there. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Let's go over there.
Awesome.
Good experience.
I hope you buy a Cafe Nero soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think actually, yeah, it's a good point. I don't know if they're owned individually or one person owns them all.
I think it's a franchise.
Oh, I was trying to buy the whole thing.
Yeah, because there's like, I've seen a couple now.
Well, no, yeah, there's like 10 around Boston.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if one person owns them all or if it is a franchise.
We'd have to look into that. I don't know.
It is interesting.
Do your research.
I will.
Yeah.
Research. It's a shiny object right now, though.
It is.
But
Yeah.
down the line, right? See that, and this is what I'm talking about with in the wholesale business. I'm learning all these business skills, which could translate to other things.
Yeah.
So once you know how to run a business, business is business. It's marketing, right? It's bringing leads or opportunities in the door. It's converting that. It's sales. It's managing your finance. It's hiring. It's people. It's no different.
Yeah.
Go do it to anything once you know how to do it. So yeah, it's what's exciting.
That's awesome. I think it's awesome, all the stuff you do, and I appreciate you being here and sharing all
Absolutely.
your insights, sharing the mindset, dropping the gems. I think a lot of other people will appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been real.
Yeah. Thank you, man.